Holy shit, motherfuckers. The price of peace right there from First Jason. Let's call this motherfucker up right the fuck now and see what the fuck is going on in their world, dude.
Zach Moonshine, how you doing, man?
Dude, what's going on, my brother? How you doing, man?
Fantastic. Yeah. Are we on the air?
Dude, we are live right now on the Zach Moonshine Show.
Yeah, it's me, Ari Lehman, rhymes with Demon, the first Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. Happy to be here.
Hell yeah.
On the Zach Moonshine Show.
Hell yeah, dude. I was hoping that we could do this on a Friday the 13th, but that would have been cool, man.
We're going to be in Wichita. Yeah, we're going to be in Wichita for a big thing at John Barleycorn's out there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We're stoked. We go throughout the byways and highways of America, playing next to cornfields and, Dollar Generals and
fuck yeah.
That's really how we've made our
that's America right there, man.
Well yeah, I know it, man. I know it from the from the van window. Just getting the opportunity to be out there in the horror community is really so nationwide and worldwide, and so we're kind of mutually validating each other's horror rock projects and stuff like that. That's essentially how First Jason kind of got its start, without a doubt. There's been so many opportunities and doors open to me.
Well, dude, you're
so great.
You're a staple of it, man. I mean, you're the first fucking Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, man.
Yes, sir. The boy in the lake. Yeah, to make that clear to everybody who's listening, I am the actor that played the boy in the lake in the very first Friday the 13th of all time, the movie known as Friday the 13th, which, of course, had Betsy Palmer as Mama Voorhees, who was, of course, the antagonist, the killer in the movie. But no, I mean, I never take it for granted that those brief moments that I do point out, if you were to divide, the brief number of moments I was on screen by the number of people that I've scared in 45 years.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be a Guinness Book of World Record for the most people scared in the least screen time.
That was one of the best parts of the movie, dude. When you fucking come up out of the water and grab the chick, it was like, fuck, man.
And
what?
Zach, that scene, that final sequence that you just referenced, was not in the original, very, very, very first version, because, production teams come up with different versions they submit.
Yeah.
And they submitted initially a different version to Paramount that did not have that ending. And Paramount, at first, in the summer of 1979, passed on Friday the 13th, and it was up in the air for 2 months. And the only sequence, and hence, the only cinematic iteration of Jason Voorhees would have been the drowning child that I do. He's drowning as Mama is having the flashback. His name was Jason. He wasn't a very good swimmer. And you see me go, kill her, Mommy, and I drown, That was going to be it. So I went home in the summer of 1979 thinking, oh, this sucks. I played this drowning child. But see, it was Tom Savini and, of course, Sean Cunningham, the director, and Victor Miller, the writer. But Tom, I think, because he was the special effects guy, so he wanted to see Jason come back, So he was the one who I think drove that idea. So in October of '79, I went back to the set to shoot that final sequence, and then Paramount loved it. They distributed Friday the 13th in 800 theaters across the country on the same day. It was amazing.
What year was that movie released?
That was 1980, bro. 45 years ago.
Fuck.
This is the 45th anniversary. So
I would have been 3 years old, man.
No, and I think that it's two things that amaze me. One is just the sheer passage of time has rendered this story, because all we do as actors and musicians and singers is storytelling, right? Once upon a time, even Godzilla was just an idea in somebody's head, you know, that they wrote down or typed out or whatever, you know. So it's become like folklore. It's become like mythology. And to stand here and to have, I'm just so grateful that people are still so just dedicated and really just love this legend of this character, which I was fortunate to start. You know, I kicked it off. You know, I'm the I like to say sometimes, because, you know, I'm the boy in the lake. So all the big Jasons, they're slashers, but I was a splasher. You know, I just splashed it off.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I mean, well, I'm telling you, man, that's one of my favorite fucking horror movies from when I was a kid. You know, I think the first time I saw that was probably in the mid to late 80s, you know, when I was old enough. I was.
Where did you see it, on a VHS?
Oh yeah.
Drive-in? Oh yeah.
VHS, man, from the mom and pop fucking video store, man.
Classic, yeah.
Because my grandma, whenever we would go stay with my grandparents, they were the ones that would, you know, grandma, she loved fucking horror movies, so she would always take me down there and she'd let me pick out a bunch of horror movies to take home, and that was one of them for sure, man. And I remember.
See, that story I've heard so many times, that, you know, I was the horror kid, and it was my grandma, or it was my big brother, or it was my uncle or aunt or somebody, someone that they bonded, right, over. They loved horror, the others didn't. It's like certain things, like hot sauce or metal. You know, we love metal. Oh, you guys with your other stuff. You know, so it's such a. It takes on a whole other dimension, right?
It does.
It's something that people can share, and it's a little dangerous, a little dark. And I love to you know, I think the notion that just, well, we endured this scary story together, knowing full well that we're perfectly safe, right? You know, just being at the movies, but still, you get so wrapped up in it. We're all sharing the nightmare together.
Well, no, I mean, I'll tell you, dude, like, we used to have debates when I was a kid, you know, with the other kids in school and stuff, and everybody be fighting about, you know, like, who's more evil or who's more scarier, fucking Freddy or Jason. And you know, like, I love Freddy too, man, but like Jason, the Friday the 13th movies, that was always, to me, that was more scary because it seemed more realistic. It seemed just a tad bit more.
This is another thing. When I was a little kid, before I shot Friday, and I was in summer camp myself, I remember saying to my little friends, it was about Dracula. That's how long ago. It was about Dracula, and I said, oh, Bela Lugosi is Dracula. And then my friend said, no, Christopher Lee is Dracula. And I was like, who's Christopher Lee? And they were all like, no, and I was like, Bela Lugosi. And so there's something about that. What is that? It's like wrestling, right? We love to pit the characters against each other, and even the actors who played like people love to compare the different Jason actors throughout the years. But come on, Freddy is no match for Jason. I mean, please. And I mean, come on, Freddy is just he's the Joker in the deck of cards. He's not the
shit.
He's not the brutal
shots called,
one.
man.
He's not the brutal one. But Michael Leatherface is really the super brutal.
Leatherface is fucked up, man. That's
so it's like
that's a whole other level.
And Jason are very similar in the sense that they don't really talk, and you know, it's like they're like children in the body of a indestructible monster. But Jason is nowhere near as scary as Leatherface, especially the one, in my opinion, the one that was played by Andrew Bernarski it was in the 90s. It was with Jessica Biel. You remember this one?
Yeah.
This oh my God, that one. But but Michael, for instance, has no cap. Like, Michael is in essence darker than Jason, because, you know, Jason has mama, Michael has mama issues. You know, like he's got family problems.
He's got a lot of issues, man.
He even had the psychiatrist and everything, you know.
Yeah. It was perfect.
Yeah, it's so different, you know. You can't put Jason on a psychiatrist's couch, you know.
Hell no, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, no.
She's gonna get the machete if that happens.
No doubt, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was Donald Pleasance in freaking Halloween, the first Halloween. Donald Pleasance, great British actor, who played the was it Dr. Loomis, isn't it? Yeah. And Laurie Strode is of course Jamie Lee Curtis. So I think that's the other thing. It's that Halloween had that real celebrity weight. We were just really fortunate when you think about it, because you think of the movies that were out around that time with Star Wars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And
Friday the 13th, you know, and it was largely because of that final sequence. And then you look at how, I mean, I don't mean to, because I love everybody who did all this stuff, but then they went on to try to recreate that scene in Creepshow and in other Friday the 13th. They just kept trying to redo that thing. And that's the whole thing, is that we didn't, you know, see, what you said about it being more realistic is due to Sean Cunningham, the director. He did try to make it seem less, like, he didn't want anything to seem kind of, I don't know, paranormal or supernatural.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, with especially those first couple, with when he had the bag on his head, that was just fucking crazy looking. And you know, you mentioned summer camp earlier, and I remember when I was a kid in the 80s, my parents sent me off to Pocono Highlands to go to summer camp one year, and we were all of us kids were sitting in the cabins, and that's what we were talking about. You know, we were talking about that shit, and we were out there, you know, there was lakes around us, you know, and that's what we were doing during the days, going on the lakes and canoes and stuff, and fucking doing all this stuff. And I'm like, we're like, you know, fucking Jason's gonna get you, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
I hear that all the time. Well, Sean Cunningham, when I was just working with him about 3 weeks ago at Chicago Nightmare Weekend, which was fantastic. They had Elvira and all these people. So he was there, and he said that he had thought about the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel when he was writing Friday the 13th, because, you know, that's how they kind of came up with the summer camp idea, because they said, what is more frightening than your own parents leaving you in the forest to die? He said,
Right.
because they kept leaving Hansel and Gretel in the forest. And then they were like, don't worry, I have my bird seed, or I have my little package of stones, or whatever it was, to find their way back, remember? And it was like, oh no, the birds ate the bird seed or something, and now we're stuck. But why did their freaking parents leave them in the forest to begin with? It's like, what? How does that make sense? And they're just fucked from that point on. So
it's weird, man. Like nowadays, that seems really strange. Like, you know, like nowadays we're all really paranoid, and all of us parents, you know, like, I don't want to send my kids to fucking anywhere, you know, like, fuck, man. If they don't have security cameras and if I'm not there, you're not going, man. You know,
back in those days, I mean, I remember literally when I did Friday the 13th, my parents had no idea where it was.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how old were you when you did that?
I was 14. It was 1979, and I was just a crazy kid who wanted to do stuff. And I was getting into music, you know. There was all kinds of great music around. I was a little prog head, you know. At first, I was all into, you know, Yes and King Crimson and all that stuff. But, you know, early, there was so much great music.
Yeah, that's all good stuff, man, too.
Freaking out, you know. And, but yeah, and you know, Van Halen and Metallica, they were coming out with these albums back then, and you were just like, what? You know, it was sick. And you know, but then you know, I also was wondering what would it be like to be an actor and do stuff. So I did a lot of plays and all that kind of stuff. And see, I also, important part of the story is that I knew how to play soccer pretty well. Not great, but okay. So the reason that matters is, okay, so two friends of mine, Johnny and Bobby Basili, who I always mention because they were so nice to do this for me, they had been in a movie with Sean Cunningham called Here Come the Tigers, which was about a baseball team. It was one of those 80s comedies. So he had decided to do an 80s comedy about soccer, about an orphanage where the kids who are the orphans, they win their orphanage back from the mafia in a soccer tournament. And so I snuck in to the YMCA to audition for that movie. And that is how they called me back, and I landed the role of Roger in that movie, which is called Nanny's Orphans. And that movie, okay, in the saga of everything, ultimately Paramount also kind of passed on that, but it got distributed overseas, so you could see me as Roger in Italian and in Japanese and in Portuguese and all these crazy things. But so what they do in the movie business is they say, look, we'll give you another chance, come up with something else. And that's when Sean came up with Friday the 13th. So he said, oh, who are we going to get to play this little boy in the lake, So at first he was going to get his son to do it. But his wife said, no, I don't want my son to be the little monster in the lake, right? And so that's when he just picked up the phone. They said, who else do we got? And they said, Ari's about the right height. It was actually Steve Miner who suggested calling me. And that's the man who produced a bunch of famous movies, including House and a lot of famous movies. But so he said, call Ari. And so I picked up the phone and they said, get over here, we got another part for you. And it was just like that. I didn't really audition, you don't really have to audition to play a drowning child.
That's fucking cool, man.
They said, can you swim? They asked me that.
That's awesome, dude. That is some serendipity right there, man.
Well, very much so. Yeah, because if I hadn't picked up the phone, they would have just gone on to the next number of kids in the movie and just, yeah.
Well, going on
serendipity, a good word.
Oh, I love that
Zach.
word, man. Yeah. Well, going on to back to the music, man. Like, how did you transition from that to playing the keytar and then doing this whole first?
Oh yeah,
Jason
well, I was already a little jazz kid. I was one of those kids at that time. You know, there was a lot of kids. You know, we were all into jazz, man. It was like Miles Davis, Pat Metheny. They were actually out there doing that fusion jazz, which at one time was pretty badass. You know, Weather Report, and you know, it was like a thing, man. You know, and so I went to New York University. I had been given a scholarship to Berklee School of Music too. I ended up going to New York University because I wanted to be in New York. And man, it was like everywhere you turned in that time period, there was music of every kind you could imagine, from like Miles Davis to like Talking Heads to like Bad Brains to like Anthrax to like all these crazy. Guar, bro, was happening. Guar was happening at that time.
Gore was badass, man.
Yeah, and I saw. Well, I made friends with this band called Reagan Youth, which is a killer punk band that people should check out if they haven't. So Reagan Youth, the lead singer was my buddy Dave, and also the guitar player Paulie, both of whom Paulie recently passed away, sadly, and Dave had a wild ride, but he would because I was playing jazz and he was like, oh, what's this jazz about? And then he was always like, he would bring me to like CBGBs where I saw for instance Dead Kennedys, Bad Brains, White Zombie, so like Rob Zombie's band, but it was White Zombie with the chick bassist Sean Yasalt.
Yes.
You know, but dude, I was so green. I was just like this little, because I had lived in Connecticut, and so to me, like I remember the first time I wandered out into a mosh pit at CBGB. Oh my God! It literally, this is what happened. Like I was like, oh, I'll go with the mosh pit, whatever, you know, and it was like these two huge guys were literally running in each other's direction. They were just going to slam right into each other, and I had just kept right in between them. There was nothing they could do to stop each other. They just bam! And I must have looked like one of those cartoons where they have like the bubbles over your head. So they were like, you got to get a leather jacket, man. I remember, they told me that. I literally went out the next day, I got a leather jacket.
Hell yeah, dude.
Oh my God. But it was crazy, you know. So then, but still, I wasn't playing rock yet. I was still, you know, jazz, and I would practice piano like crazy, like hours and hours and hours. So then what happened was they came out with this kind of smooth jazz. You know, you had Grover Washington, you had Kenny G, you know, and I'm not knocking those guys because they're great and I love them, but it made the jazz thing kind of, anytime you said jazz now, people thought you meant that. And I was like, no, man, I'm into this, like, for instance, there was a band called Screaming Headless Torsos.
Yeah, they're not thinking about the crazy stuff.
No, people should check those guys out. Because, here, do you know what it was? We were allowed to play music on the street, bro. And we would get gas generators, right? And we would get out there in Astor Place or in Liberty Plaza, and we would, you know, and you would make, sometimes you could make like $100 or more each. But the whole thing is, all the jazz bands were trying to out fast and loud each other.
Out jazz each other.
Dude, it was nuts. And there were some amazing players. I remember this one band called BMF, Bad Motherfuckers. And nobody could mess with them. And they had alto and trumpet and it was just I can't even explain. And at the same time, right down the street was like Patti Smith and or Burn Nicks or They Might Be Giants, or just, it was such a fun. So what happened with me was I was like, well, where am I going to find my place, in this world? And I really got drawn into world music. And world music became really big. And I was working at a world music record store, and I started just getting into world music, and I got hired by an African band. So I ended up touring with a band from Nigeria, West Africa, because I wanted to learn that music. And that was on Interscope Records eventually. It's an artist named Majek Fashek from Nigeria.
That's cool as hell, man.
So this guy, and the thing about Majek was that he could sing like Bob Marley and play guitar like Jimi Hendrix. So it came up out of that era with Fela Kuti and King Sunny Ade and that whole world music era, which was very big, and then eventually that faded. But then I was playing in reggae bands too. What was essentially happening is some bands couldn't bring all their musicians from the Caribbean or West Africa, and here I was in New York, so they would hire me to be the keyboardist and background singer for different acts. I got to work for Sister Carol and Ija Man Levi, open for big acts like Steel Pulse and some of the Marley family, and just it was an amazing time period. But so all this is going on, and I met my beautiful wife Elaine and moved to Chicago. And then somebody sends me an email, said, "Hey, did you autograph this photo?" And I was like, what? And they said, "Yeah, you're the actor that played little Jason Voorhees." And I said, "That's me." And they said, "Because I just bought this for $50 on eBay." And so somebody apparently had been forging my autograph and selling it on pictures of little Jason. And, so I got to the bottom of that. We found out who it was. He actually gave some money back to different fans, But here I was, and it was like all of a sudden the horror world discovered me, And Tony Timpone of, do you know Fangoria magazine?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Fangoria magazine. Tony Timpone called me up and invited me to this huge convention at the Meadowlands. And that was my introduction to the whole world of, I had no idea there was thousands of people there. And, any entertainer looks at that and says, well, this is a big opportunity, and here I am with like my reggae music, and people were being very polite. But then I thought to myself, look, these are all metalheads and punks, because every metalhead and every punk is a horror fan, pretty much. So that's when it dawned on me I needed to put together something that represented Jason and my role and my interaction with the world as little Jason in the form of a hardcore metal band. And that's when I just started drawing on all those resources. I fortunately had a buddy who was a drummer named Amit Cleaver, who would sub for the Cro-Mags, because at some time the singer and the drummer didn't get along, so they would take Cleaver, on tour with them. And he toured with them in Europe and all this stuff. So he was my good buddy. He helped me out. And when I got here to Chicago, there's a bass player I happened to find on Craigslist, because there's a famous band here in Chicago called Macabre, and Macabre is the murder metal band. The original Dahmer and all that, and absolutely brilliant. And I was just lucky because when I happened to be checking, they happened to be having a little hiatus. That's all that happened. And Chuck, a.k.a. Nefarious, the bass player, was able to jump on, and he's on my first 2 records. So it's Cleaver and Nefarious and myself on the first 2 records. So, yeah, we recorded Jason Is Watching way back in 2009, bro. And that was really the beginning, you know, with the songs Jason Is Watching, Jason Never Dies, Sink or Swim, Machete Is My Friend.
Yeah.
You know, those, and it was well received. And we just got out there, and I just started, like I said, playing a lot of the smaller clubs. Then, you know, I got different personnel, and I recorded an album here in Chicago. I found Rob Ruccia, who is the engineer who works with Nonpoint, who's out there touring right now.
Yeah. With
Seether, in fact. Yeah, Nonpoint. They're amazingly, they're like our big brother band. And so Nonpoint records and works. So Rob Ruccia recorded that album called Lord of the Lake. So that has Voorhees is the name and Kill for Mother on it, among other songs. But those we did videos for, and that got us a lot of attention. Then we recorded The Price of Peace and The Scapegoats. So that, for some reason, the videos from those two, so the videos specifically from The Price of Peace, which you just played, it was the first person to really reach out and help, because, you know, bands, that's what you need. You got to connect with other bands. You can't do it in a box. You know, everybody's got to work together.
Yeah, you got to network, man.
Yep. We were so fortunate. John McKenty from Incantation.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. He has an event. John. Just, you know what I'm saying? He has an event called Carolina Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Okay. And he invited us to be there, invited me to be there, and he invited First Jason to be there. And it's like Nuclear Assault is playing, Incantation is playing. So my guitar player, Eddie Machete, and I just stood there with our, you know, jaws on the floor, because the musicianship is just mind-blower. And, you know, but we didn't let, you know, First Jason's not a thrash band, but that didn't matter, because everybody gave us our shot, and we got up there and we killed it, you know, in our own kind of hard.
It's cool, man. I was telling people in the chat room earlier, like, it kind of reminds me of Primus in a little way.
Oh, well, I appreciate that a lot.
Which I love too, you know. But yeah,
certainly, man. In this spirit, very much in the spirit of bands like Primus, absolutely,
man.
And
you mentioned you were mentioning world music earlier, and you were talking about African stuff and stuff like that. You know, it's making me laugh because it totally triggered a memory in my mind. I remember in the mid '90s, me and my buddy, we went to this dude's house to buy some fucking weed. And we went in to his apartment, and this weird guy, man, he's sitting there and he's talking to us about all this crazy stuff, and he kept on putting these CDs on, and he's like, you gotta check this out. And he's got all this like huge collection of just really weird world music, like what you said, man, like but it was like African fucking drum beats, but they were just playing with sticks and fucking stones and stuff, and it was wild, man. And he would sit there and make us sit there and listen to that for like hours before we could leave, man. You know, like, you're not getting your fucking sack until you listen to this, motherfuckers. But so we'd sit there and we'd just listen to it. We were just like, whoa, man, this is fucking wild.
Schooling you guys.
I remember though,
esoteric sounds.
It was some pretty fucking crazy stuff, man. Like it was just bizarre, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, you'd be surprised how many bands out there are influenced by all that music.
Yeah.
So the second group, that what really happened was, okay, Spencer from Ice Nine Kills asked me to sing on, he has a song called Thank God It's Friday about Friday the 13th. They did an acoustic version, so I'm singing on that, which is on the director's cut extended version of their Silver Screen album. So, you know, Ice Nine Kills is enormously popular, and that got us a lot of attention. Then Twisted, you know, Twisted from Detroit,
yeah,
like from the Juggalo scene.
Yeah, the ICP.
Thank you. So they got us on their show Astronomicon. So now, and I even did a song with them too. So, and then we went over to UK and did a show where Corey Taylor was there. So, you know, we started to get our legs for playing at bigger shows. We played for 3,000 people there, and then we came back and did Silver Screen Con, which is Ice Nine Kills' own convention, which was just last year, and that's probably the biggest show we played so far. It was I don't know, 7,000-8,000, but it was us, TX2, Avatar, In This Moment, Ice Nine Kills. So
hell yeah,
that was something else, you know. So in as much I love playing anywhere, anytime. I love playing little punk clubs. I mean, we also, you know, packed the Melody Inn, which is a small punk club in Indianapolis, together with the Jasons, another band that we've worked together with, because there's First Jason.
The Jasons.
The Jasons are a band that they all wear hockey masks on stage, and they kind of do a Ramones sound, and they were so. The guy gets up on stage and he did a whole dedication to me. So, you know, it's
that's awesome.
So I said to myself, it's time now. Here I am, you know, reaching this kind of thing. Good things are happening. It's not time to sit back. It's time to push myself. And so that's where I came up with 7 songs, and we went over to, or really I had 5 at that point. I went over to Rob, and we started recording. And then, lo and behold, as I'm doing this recording process, Cannibal Cam Schwartz.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you about CDN Records, man. I was just gonna
just hits me up, man, out of the blue, as we're already recording. Now, we had done some Canada shows, so there was, he saw us at Frightmare in the Falls in Niagara Falls. And so that was 2 Halloweens ago, and they had these crazy guys doing this stunts, sideshow kind of escape artist kind of thing, and it was amazing, and the place was absolutely packed, and it was a great night. So apparently Cam was there, and so he said, you know, Ari, I think it's time that you got signed. And I said, well, lo and behold, I have new songs, you know.
That's what he said?
Yeah. Basically, he was just like, bro, you know, let's do this. And I was like, yeah. I mean, I checked out what he's up to. And, I mean, I understand what he was coming from, too, because he wants to lend some different variety within, because he does, like, some super awesome, hellacious death metal bands over there.
Oh, yeah.
And that, you know, but we're a little, as you said, a little more on the, you know, primacy, Gwar-y,
alternative kind of side, man, I would say.
Yeah. And it's connected to Friday the 13th and a little bit of comedy there, so, you know.
But it makes sense. It makes sense because all of us metalheads are huge fucking horror fanatics. I mean, I can go ahead and speak for everybody right now and just say that, you know, like we are, man.
It's
like,
true.
You know, we love that shit. So I can totally see, you know, like where his mind was at, you know, on that. I was really excited when I saw him post that and he told me about it. I was like, yes.
Well, thank you, bro.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
We got some dope artwork coming up. The title track, Into the Fray. So that song, like I had come up, one song is called On My Feed, which is all about, internet, but it's kind of like describing it like in a predatory way, like on my feed, And then we did a song called Slashist.
Hell
we
yeah.
did a song called Foul Deeds. We did a song, First Things First. But so this song, Into the Fray, it just like, I had a dream. I was like, I knew I need one more song, And I just had this dream, and I woke up and boom, wrote the whole song and recorded it, boom. And so our artist, who's called Crumpy, he just came up with this badass artwork. It's like Jason is into the fray. It's like there's this army of demons, and he's just slashing his way through. It's amazing.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Well, I know we haven't announced it yet or anything, but as far as like new music and the stuff being released by CDN Records, is there a date that you guys have confirmed?
Well, we're shooting for October. I think we're pretty
Okay.
safe because we'll have all the mixes in about 2 to 3 weeks. We've got the artwork lined up, and it's like June now, so I think we can safely say we'll have it ready by October. Yeah.
Sweet, man. Sweet.
Horror season.
Hell yeah.
As it is. So are you in Buffalo? Where are you in Buffalo?
Buffalo? No, man. I'm in Jackson, Tennessee, man.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Down south.
All right. Well, I was just in Nashville not too long ago doing some stuff.
Yeah, that's about three hours away from where I'm at, man.
Okay, all right.
We're halfway.
We're making our way through. We have a Florida run coming up. Who knows where we'll be? We're always somewhere. The next run is Wichita and Kansas City. And then in July, we're going down to Orlando and Port St. Lucie and Jacksonville. So we'll probably pass through Tennessee.
Hell yeah.
We'll just show up, bro.
Well,
Here we are.
We got a little festival that we put on down here, man, called the Tennessee Metal Devastation Music Fest, and fucking.
Do you?
Who knows, man? Hit us up and fucking let us know, man. What we can do, man.
Nope.
Maybe we can bring you down here next year.
That.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, let us know.
That'd be awesome, man. All right,
sounds fun.
Well, brother, I'm about out of questions for you. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
I just want to tell everybody you got to keep listening to Zach Moonshine so you hear all the updates and get all the inside scoop. And, because it's pure and it's strong like some good moonshine, okay? Thank you.
Hell yeah.
And that you can take it from me, Ari Lehman, the first Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
Well, before I let you go, can I get you to make us a station tag real quick, man? So whenever you're ready, say something like, this is fucking Jason from Friday the 13th.
And tag it with you listening to the Zach Moonshine Show, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Hang on. Hold on. Hey, campers, it's me, Ari Lehman, the first Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. And you're listening to the Zach Moonshine Show. Jason never dies.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Thank you so much.
That was my pro voiceover voice.
That was awesome, dude. You did it like a champ, man. Like a pro, dude.
Awesome, Zach. That was fun, bro.
Hey, thank you.
I appreciate it. And listen, I appreciate all the work you're doing because I'm getting all these. I just did on Wednesday, I did a thing. I've been doing like 3 things a week, and it's good. You're doing a lot of work, and I see that.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, we're trying, man. We're putting out the word, and people are fucking. They're jumping on it, and they should, man, because you're cool, and this is cool, and they should be supporting it. So,
if there's anything, like if you notice that I didn't catch something or something, just, say, hey, Ari, don't forget this part.
Oh, yeah. I'll let you know, man. Don't worry. I'll let you know. Well,
and when we get out your way, we're going to, you'll make sure you're on our guest list.
Yeah, dude. Friend. I would love to meet you, and I'd love to hang out with you, man, for sure, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Zach.
All right. Well, I guess what I'm going to do now is I'm going to blast some more fucking First Jason for these motherfuckers so they go crazy, all right?
Play it loud.
Thank
you, bro.
All right, brother.
Care,
take it easy, man. We'll talk to you later.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cheers. There you have it, folks. Fucking Jason Voorhees from the first Friday the 13th. Live right here on Metal Devastation motherfucking radio. Like I said earlier, man, put your speakers in your windows, put them in your front lawns. Do whatever you gotta do, man. If you don't see U-Haul trucks everywhere, man, what the fuck? These motherfuckers got balls, dude. Seriously, man. Crank it the fuck up loud as a fuck. Here's some more First Jason, man.